welcome, good evening to all of you. Good evening, especially to Nora, been a great supporter in here, and also Rosmandi in here, and many of you who are members. And why we are talking today is don't get caught unprepared. So tips for market crash and market boom. So I was going to explore with you a couple of ideas that we as fund manager, we as trader also do here to help ourselves prepared. And I do hope that what I'm about to share with you are educational in nature, and it will put you in a better position. Now remember last week we did have the talk in there, and the talk was also focused where to put your money for 2023. So today we have a slightly uptick flavor in here to give you the best perspective in here. So tonight we'll be covering be prepared either for market crash and market boom. Of course, I'm going to give you my personal intake, where's the market likely to go, because there's a lot of information or overloading of information that we see in the market in here, depending which guru you listen now. Some tend to be long. I have to admit, I'm always been very long because I'm a long-term investor in the stock market. There are some are generally are trader in nature, so they tend to be a bit bearish, but then you're looking at some who are what we call those long-term value investor, right? The long-term value investor is always very, very pessimistic about market because they always say market is overvalued. So we will be discussing about the strategy and what's likely to happen on first quarter. And I do hope that some of the things you can take away, you can able to share that also on the comment to see how we can better prepare some of the topics that we have in here. And of course, year 2023 will be a year of moderation with improving market. And we do feel that using the VSA 360 with our Pentagon Guider alert has helped many of our members to put you in a stronger position, at least profitable, to avoid some of those major losses that we have seen many of you may avoid in here. So let's get started in here. Now, last Wednesday, which is the 4th of January, for those of you who want to listen on my take where to put the money in 2023, so check out the YouTube on Trade VSA in here where I talk more about the details and what are the precautions needed. Of course, year 2022 has passed us for the last 11 days. It has been a very dismay returns with KLSE minus 4.6%, Nasdaq 33 and Dow 8.8 and S&P 519 for 19% in here, being the technology, and the only best performing was SGX, right? And no surprises, I have to admit, even my own longer term portfolio has also suffered down returns too in here. And because of that, that's why it's important to sort of get prepared right now for the incoming, especially this is the first month of January 2023 in here. Now, why the worries in here? Now, remember, we have talked about the dismay 2022 returns. So the question is, according to Bloomberg statistics, okay, now, once you get into two bear years, because right now everyone is so fearful. There's recession, which I talked about last week, inflation, the continuing war between Russia and Ukraine, where I will also give you my comment, and maybe you can take it with a pinch of salt and whether what I say is quite true. And this worry, right, of two consecutive down year, right, especially in the context of the US market. Malaysia has been sideways moving since back 2016. We haven't gone anywhere, you know, we're still sort of up and down, and that's always been the case of this market in here. So where are we sort of, you know, heading up if we really want to focus in this market? Now the question is here, very simple. We must not have two down year. Two consecutive down years is very bad in terms of statistics because it does happen very rare, and it simply states that if there are two consecutive down years, which means 2023 is down, 2022 is down, that would also lead to 2024 is down, right? But right now, I think very unlikely, judging from what we have with the world forecast that we've seen by the World Bank. It's unlikely, but you know lah, this kind of thing we all never know, right? Because we are in the business of preparing ourselves. Now, Do take note, it's also very rare that it happened that 2 consecutive down years, which is first year down 2022 and second year down, which is 2023. It only happened 4 times in the last 80 to 9 years. So if we go by the law of average or statistic, right, very likely this may not happen and we see a rebound in 2023. Maybe we'll go back to the old high that we have, but perhaps maybe overtaking it there. But I'll give you some indication and some figures that you'll be looking at should the uptrend resume. Remember, right, we always have a long bull market. We are talking somewhere between 4 to 7 years. Some are longer, like 10 years. And then we have a very shorter 8 to 18 months of bear market in here. And right now we started in February, assuming started in February, this is coming to February, we already have 12 months, 12 months of bear market. That's why they say 2 consecutive years, which means more than 24 months. That will lead to, and the last time it happened in US was the dot-com crash, 2000 to 2002. It leads to more than 24 months in here. So take note of that one. We don't want this to happen. Do take note, I always engage myself in statistics, and that's how we look at the probability of this market in here. Now, let's look at, first of all, of course, very simplistic term, the sign of market crash. The most easier one we always is for traders like myself. We look at the technical charts, the VSA chart. And for those of you who have the VSA charts, do look at the weekly. All right, look at the weekly chart. I'm going to show you some weekly chart after this in here. So you want to look at the weekly chart and look for red pentagon, right? Red pentagon is important. Then you want to look at the simple moving average on the daily chart of the 200 moving average in here, right? Then next is that you want to see market is how much of this what we call the social media influencer, which gets on to Bloomberg, CNBC, and also Channel News Asia, depending where you get your business news, or from Barron's, some of the things I look at, or from Seeking Alpha, those we have, or economists. They tend to sway towards either being very, very bearish, like Dr. Doom, which only get it one right over the last 20 years, and because of that fame that they have, they continue to get that. And then we have this Michael Burry, right, which is a very famous so-called bear market predictor. And there was someone who did a study going back to 2016. He made 22 predictions about bear market, including Tesla. And finally, he was right about Tesla. He said that Tesla cannot go so high, but it went higher and higher. But right now, Tesla finally has came back down. So even, as I said before, right, these people can get it right because it's always a law of statistic in here. But always take note, what is the, the reasons behind of all this so-called doomsayer like Michael Burry or Dr. Doom, right? Why do they talk? Because they are coming from a value investor. So when you're coming from a value investor, you always want to buy something that is undervalued, right? And so that's why they say that, hey, because the market is overvalued, and right now the market has always been overvalued, which we'll take a look at it, and that's why it needs to come down to 10 to 20%. Right now, sometimes you have to figure out why the market is overvalued. This is also due to the works that is done by central banks. The central bank tend to print a lot of money. We all know that, right? The quantitative easing that started in 2008 and that continues. So a lot of this free money flows into the market. And only the last 12 months when CPI or inflation figures become high, the US Federal Reserve tightened the monetary policy in here by raising interest rate, and that's why we see right now the market could not move about that. So that's why the market now has come off a bit, but we always measure that from the S&P 500 ratio, which is some of the economic indicator, right? The economic indicator does show GDP growth, but do take note, GDP growth usually are slow because they take about a month to report by the time when they report. Now remember, right, there were two GDP slower growth, all right, and previously for the US, which is I think second quarter and first quarter last year, right? Or is it third quarter or second quarter in here? And by the time when they release the fourth quarter, which was bullish, right, which was positive, the market already rebounded that. So that's why the GDP figures usually slow. But I will also show you on the chart. And when you look at that, it does make a lot of sense visually, because I think many of you, including myself and you, we are all visual in here. And also looking at the S&P 500 PE ratios, right? And the PE ratios are falling. That's actually good. But also the purchasing manufacturing index called the PMI also falling below 50, right? So all these figures, you can get it from the fedstlouis.org, or we can just Google it. So these are the economic indicators that you can use to pair together, so you are arriving to the sign of market crashing. I do hope that this will provide you what we call initiative for you to look further and even learn more about technical charts and learn about how this popular CEO make comments. Especially right now, many of us have phones, right? And you have news, and whatever news that you Google, right? Eventually some of these so-called doomslayer will always come in. Like Robert Kiyosaki always say, market crash, and think of it, they will be right 2 out of 22 times if you call it long enough. But because of their previous involvement or the social media status that they enjoy, a lot of media coverage will always talk about that, and they will always get the clicks, okay? And that's how the world works. So social media play a really influence to how we form an opinion on the market. But at the end of the day, the facts have to speak for itself. Remember, technical analysis, social media, we need to look at it, and also economic indicator in here. Now let's look at the chart as per se. This is a KLCI chart in here, and what we are showing you right now in the technical side of it. The technical side of it, you can see we have a green pentagon in here. Let me just move back. You can see the green pentagon, and this green pentagon does show you the trend is likely to up. But if you look back in the last session that we have in so-called June, right? That's where the market bottomed, and early on it already had the red pentagon. So if you have followed that to the KLCI, you'll be in a very strong position. And sometime in mid-August, the market picked back up again. You can see right here, this is where the green pentagon was correct. And then end August, the market break back down all the way down. And this is where we have a jostling up and down, up and down. And this is because I think many of you remember was the election, right? The election was announced and the market went up, and it did touch the low sometime in mid-October, just slightly about 40 points lower than the June in here. So those are very important to establish the base. But right now, what is it doing them? Right, those of you who are listening here, and you can definitely see this market right now, you can see it is testing the 200-day moving average. Now the 200 moving average, if you have followed our program, we always say that this is the Great Wall of China. Now just look at this. It pierced through here. It became a resistance. The market fell. But again, of course, we all know that, right? It was in red pentagon or the yellow trend zone here. And then another time, just looking at 2022, it tests again, upthrust. Could come back here. Then here was Anwar was selected as the 10th Prime Minister, broke through, then U-turn balik, then upthrust. You see that, right? Upthrust, very similar to this one. And it continued to test. The more time that it tests, the more likely to break. Now, you just think of it, if you have a pencil like this, and it is a piece of cardboard, you chuchok, right? Eventually, you're going to break through the cardboard, right? And that's basically what is this trying to do. So if you have a very sharp pencil, you chuchok, you will definitely break through the cardboard then. But, caveat, in case if you chuchok, the cardboard cannot break, your pencil break, what happened? Then the market come down lah. Correct, all right? Easy way to understand. So that is what's happening right now, all right? Now, let's turn our attention to the US side. Same thing, we take the pencil, we chochok to the cardboard, okay? So you can see here, it tested way back, and again, the green pentagon on the daily chart followed very nicely. You can push up and then push back down. It was just spot on, the red pentagon coming down in here, and if you had followed and just shorted it, I think you would have made money. And then you long back here, and then when you see the upthrust, you shorted, and then that was the nature of the market in here. So on hindsight, of course, it's easier for me to say, but those of you who have the green pentagon a part of our VSA plugin subscription. And if you have not, maybe you can take a chance to try out our 10-day free trial, right? 10-day free trial using our VSA, and you definitely have no regret. That's right, you have no regret on this. So right now, you can also see this. This is for Dow Jones. It has broken. You cucuk satu kali ya, dia naik, then turun balik. Same like Malaysia, right? Cucuk satu kali, turun balik, right? So what's going to happen next? You see this one, right? Cucuk satu kali, naik. So it's going to naik on. Right? That's what we call it, the pre-Chinese New Year rally. So if you are listening tonight, you first hear from us, the pre-Chinese New Year rally. Because once it chucho and run, next thing you know, all social media, newspaper will talk about Chinese New Year rally. But you hear it first from Trade VSA, Mr. Martin Wong, okay, here. So this is why we tell people, and again, continue to educate all our members about public, the importance of reading charts. So right now you can see from here, this market continue to push up. You have upthrust, come back here and form a new base. And if you take closely, this is also very similar to the Hang Seng chart. Hang Seng is also same thing, because Hang Seng, we all know, right, Chinese is reopening. I know there's a lot of COVID cases. If you turn on the TV every day, they say Chinese mainland are dying. We don't want the tourists to come over, but no choice. We all Malaysians, everybody in the world rely on the mainland China tourists because they bring a lot of money. If I don't know if I recall it right, each tourist spend average of 5,000 ringgit. Remember, one tourist spend 5,000 ringgit on tourism in Malaysia. Hotel lah, shopping lah, makan-makan lah, pergi masuk tiket, all the what they call the theme park lah. They go to, you know, the Sunway theme park, the Malacca Zoo, the KL Zoo. I don't think they're going to go there and look at the panda lah. All right. So again, so this is why when the Chinese reopen, right? No doubt the COVID cases is a lot, but what the strategy is, the Chinese wanted to get over with it, right? If you are here from somewhere, right, from the YouTube, the Chinese government wanted the infection to go very high, especially during this Chinese New Year. So quickly count all the high infection. Those who want to go, go. Those who can survive, survive. And then they go on. This has always been the regime of the Communist Party. If you look back during the Mao Zedong era, right, the Cultural Revolution, the famine that they have, right, they treat their citizens are pretty much like a kind of a baggage, to either they don't like it, they just dump it aside. So this is how, a Communist Party does it in here. There's no freedom or whatever the case is. So what we do see from now onwards, right, the reopening is definitely a very positive thing because they are allowing the Chinese tourists to come over to Malaysia and many parts of the world, in Japan, Thailand, all reopening right now. So right now you can see the Dow Jones is above 200-day moving average. So you can definitely see why this is important, as I said before, to see the manner why our KLCI chart will. Now the next one is going to focus on economic in here. So tonight it's just going to be a spread of indicators that I look at, and hopefully that will also put you in the right spot. Now if you look at it, in 2009, the S&P 500, this is the S&P 500 ratio, right? Basically just tell you overpriced or undervalue the stock markets. Of course, anything above 20 is overpriced. Above 20 is overpriced. So where is 20? This is a 20, right? Of course, value investor like Dr. Doom, Michael Burry, a few more, I think, even Warren Buffett like to buy at 15 times PE or 12 times PE. So remember that, write it down. 12 times to 15 times PE, which is actually what our KLCI is around this level in here. But right now we can see is at 20 times. Now going back to what I said before, the 20 times is also similar to the post-COVID back in 2020, that level in here. When you shoot too high, this is the part that you are somewhere in the 2019, where the market hit below the 35. This is where all whatever, Zoom went up very high, right? $350. Then you have all the technology stocks went up very high, and this is what we saw, that spike to the 35, and even Tesla went up to 200 in PE in here. But right now it's coming down. But my key message here is that you notice on top of me, the PE is 20.4 times, which is very similar to the COVID-19 recession the short recession that we have. So right now, the PE is not too expensive, but yet reflecting the recession in here. So how low can it go? Maybe to the 15 times, we don't know. So that has to invert another disaster, right, before the market can go lower. But right now, on technical wise, it does look like market is pitching up. Now let's take a look at the KLSE versus the US market. Now, of course, many of you, our members in here, are pretty convinced, very, very comfortable just looking in the KLCI market. Now, if you do a comparison, both from the Dow Jones and the market, you can see 2016, 14%, 2017, 2017 make money 9%, but you look at US, it's 22%. Then 2018, minus 4. 2019, minus 6, 21%. 2020, 3%. 2020, 10%. 2021, 3%. 2021, 18%. 2022, minus 3%. 2022, minus 6%. We just finish up in here. So logically, US market does offer a better coverage, and this has always been the intention of our Trade VSA education and a lot of our analytics. Once you learn about Malaysia, you can also move your portfolio to the US side. And what more right now with a lot of the cheap broker like Rakuten and a few more, right? You can access it. You don't need to, take your money to Singapore, whatever the case. You can also open, I think I showed you some of our US session, trading using the Rakuten online to trade the US market. And even also, you can use it for Hong Kong and Singapore in here. Of course, for our Malay friends, you just need to look into whether it is Sharia compliance or not. That's why we say that this does offer in here. So let's look at some of the social media scan of things. When I was looking at what are the popular market crash preparation idea, how prepared are you? How prepared are you in the look at? So there are three things I always talk about. First, right, you must have personal emergency fund. How many months? They're always saying it's 6 months. But right now, with the inflation, I think you have to increase to 9 months to 12 months of emergency fund of your monthly salary. All right. Some people say during the COVID, everything so used up. EPF also used up. Where got money left? Have to become Grab driver, have to become Lala Move driver, or maybe open up Nasi Lemak store. That's always been some of the public that we've seen in here before. So the emergency funds but I do hope those of you who are listening tonight in here, and I hope that my message will help you to prepare better. Right, and of course the first one is globally diversified portfolio. For most people, if they don't know how to buy the US market and so forth, they would end up buying Malaysian unit trusts. And if you go into those unit trust global funds and you look at each of the individual holding of the unit trust, you'll see some of the favorite American stocks will be there. You will find Apple lah, Microsoft lah, right? Correct? Tesla lah, Taiwan Semiconductors, right? So it doesn't make sense to put your money when you can, especially our channel, Trade VSA, intend to help you to trade better, to learn more. All right. And of course, last but not least, if you have not have a saving rate, you better start having a saving rate, saving about 20% annually in here, right? But what's the truth behind it, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think? Just type it in there. What is this possible or not? Right? Is this possible, right? Okay, so if you look back here, right, and if you look at this, it's not practical in real world sense, right? So it's not practical in real world sense. So what is practical? Now, of course, sharing you some of the suggested market crash strategy that we have in here. Take a bit of salt, but this is how I look at it. First, stay defensive. Now remember, last week we already started our Kung Fu, started our work already, right? Last Wednesday we talked about where to put your money in 2023. We talked about going into defensive stock portfolio. So check out that portfolio, but I'll also flesh out some of the stocks that we talk about in here. Go to gold or simply cash out. I do have a couple of questions from some of our members in here. Some of the long-term stocks I recommended last year, yes, of course, it didn't do very well. I myself also under the water in here, but I'm more in the longer term. So for me, I stretch my investment over longer period. I'm just not looking at the value each year. I'm looking at what it can be, because after you listen to me on those points, especially the economic indicator, you may agree you need to have a slightly different strategy than what you have before listening to this, right? So go to cash or stretch your investment over longer period, because most people, they only have a mindset, my long term is 6 months. No, long term sometimes can be 3 to 5 years. Okay, 3 to 5 years from now. And for me, long term, it could be maybe even longer, right? More than 10 years in here, right? Or you can cut your partial loss on your long-term stock or reduce the position, right? I do know some people who are very heavy, especially on the rubber glove. They have not cut it. If they still think that, hey, rubber glove is still a long-term stock. Okay, no, I think eventually, stocks like Hata, Top Glove, they will come back, but they're not going to go back to the same level where they are, because everything has already been priced in together in here. So maybe it's time to reduce some of those positions and move on to other things, and maybe buy on dip. All right, now when you buy on dip, don't average down. All right, especially when we teach in our Trade VSA course, which is buy on pullback, which allows you to average up. All right, and then finally, we do find out with the tools that the VSA have, we capitalize on those short-term opportunity. On the longer trend, we are not going anywhere, just sort of move sideways. But the large cap market still remain to be volatile. After all, right, the indices of Malaysia has been pretty much consists of all the KLCI files. But the small cap stock has a lot of opportunity. Now, this is newly from the Edge. You can see right at the bottom in here. And surprisingly, I did find out last year, a lot of the newly IPO done pretty well. You can see here, SPF Tech up 500%, right to the bottom, Sing Heng New Retail, minus 43, EchoSign 66, SendGuild, I think I got it right, 59%. So this does tell you, right, the smart money is, especially in Malaysia context, they cannot control the institutional, but they can play around with IPO. One of the gentlemen I've talked to is because IPO is new, smart money haven't got into it yet. So they can push the share easier to control. So when you talk about the older share, like the next one, the small cap list number 1, you can see Computer Form, Pertama Digital, Xingyan, Perak Transit, Kotra, all these are small cap stocks, and they have already existing smart money player in there. So more fighting, like you fight me, I fight you, you fight me, I fight you, right? But for the IPO, whoever sampai dulu duduk itu kerusi dapat. You know what I mean, right? Whoever go and chop the kerusi first, then they get it. That's the IPO. But small cap mesti lawan sikit in here. So you can see many of these small cap stocks did move up higher. The small cap number 2, which is from 500, this is the same one, same file here in here. So what we are proposing in here, we have sat down with our team of development, and we are continue to update our VSA 360, which has always been one of the tools. So we want to capitalize on this top volume, because many of those IPOs and also those small cap stocks, their volumes are very, very heavy when they want to push up. So when they want to push up to distribute, we find that this is actually a good entry. So we started to develop for the proposed feature of 2023 is our top volume. Second one, first one is the intraday alert, which you see on normal Friday. This is the second top volume in here. And this is also due to the feedback when we did conduct our 100-day orientation with our members. We saw some of them who made 100,000, 200,000 on paper trading were actually trading the top volume in here. So that gave us an idea in here. And I want to share with you, we started developing this when sometime back in November. So as I said, when you purchase a VSA 360 system, it is always changing, and every quarter you have something new that make it very interesting. And many of these trades you will see eventually, right? One right trade like here can make the money back already in one trade. Good enough. You can see from this trade, which appeared on 1140, okay, and then within one bar, let me just move on $10,000 trade, already make 450 ringgit. Possible. I'm not saying you definitely have to make, but possible in here. This is one of the trade I have anyway. So I'm buying on the top volume. Only one day, only one bar, ni tak payah tunggu 5 days. Ini one bar saja. So 450 ringgit return will just for one day can cover back this kind of thing. So these are what we call the top volume. And right now, many of our 100-day orientation members, our VSA class members, they are already using it. They have feedback to us in here. So this is something good. And I'm testing out, I'm using my own money to buy this. And it's kind of very interesting. The result has been pretty good. So, and you can see from here, okay, so the first one on the list, all right, you can pick it up at around 11 o'clock, the 9:40 or so, but at that time I happened to buy IT Max because that was the time in here. So you can see IT Max was up bar, PE 31 times, ROE 0, market cap of 1.5 billion, and it's a technology in here. So this is one of those IPO stocks. So in here immediately 158, tomorrow I'll be out already, this one, all right, because you got up trust here already. So tomorrow little bit, maybe just up 160, 159, chabut. Then go to the next horse. So this is how you want to trade. You go to the next horse. So every time when you have, you chabut. Okay, if Nora, you have this one here, you can also try out this one here, early bird. That's right. So one bar, 1 day saja. Okay, then the same stock, just to share with you in here, is GFM, spotted at 20 cents at 11.40. Okay, all right, notice the line in here. And it did hit 21.5 cents. 7.5%. Okay, so that will give you 750 ringgit from a 10k. So for those of you who are considering cost to benefits, right, the returns that you get from this kind of top volume trading, especially in 2023, what we recommend will cover back whatever investment that you put in here. And more importantly, we tell our members, try it out as part of our education system, part of our trading orientation that you can try out in our virtual platform in your trading platform and see how well you fare before you're putting on real money in here. So that's why we have the 7 model framework to help you to build your wealth and trading income in year 2023. And this is definitely one of the ways. And the next example we have here is VSA spotted Senso. Okay, this was Senso, 11.40 at 25.5 cents in here. All right, 25.5 cents. And then eventually it hit 27 cents, 5.8%. 5.8%. Again, 4 trades, all 4 trades will make money. Why? Because it is top volume. Top volume for the day, that means smart money is pushing out. So when it's like you're already flying like a rocket ship, flying, not yet up thrust, not yet up thrust, not yet SOW, sign of weakness, market will move. And that's how you make that 5.8%. So a $10,000 trade in one day make you 580 ringgit. I'm not saying that you will definitely make. I'm just showing you cases where you can trade smaller account. Maybe you can just trade $1,000 trade size, or you can trade $20,000 trade size. I leave it up to you in here. All right. Then the next one is Tango. Okay, Tango. Again, top volume. Top volume. The top 30 KLSE volume at 11.40 at 35.5 cents. And eventually it hit 39 cents. So that gives almost a 10% returns in here. So usually when you see this early in the morning, when I go through that list as it comes out, those of you who are familiar with intraday alert in here, shoot in straight and take the trade, because it's a volume momentum. Top 30, easy to get in, easy to get out. And usually the volumes, by the time you reach about maybe mid-afternoon before market close, already hit 1 over million in there. And that's why we actually learned this from our members. Really, we learned this already from our members. So that's why it's a lot of what we call knowledge transfer between the students. They tell us what they want to build, and then we sort of build in there. And this is only possible due to the contribution from all our members who discuss and share a lot of things that we have. So with that, 10% in one day, 980 ringgit in here, no joke. Okay, so this is something those of you who are VSA 360 orientation, on Tuesday we talk about this. You already have access to this top volume intraday. All right. So the next feature we find that will help, especially if whether it's a market crash or it is a market boom, is this information. Follow the insider smart money strategy. Now, we all know Bursa currently report a lot of what we call the Disclosure Requirement Company Act 2016, where the shareholders who have interest with voting rights, okay, part of the SSM, part of the Company Act, they have to do disclosure. So if you have more than 5% of voting rights, you have to disclose, especially all public, incorporated public information. So this is actually one of the things that we wanted to do, to really follow siapa itu orang punya smart money, or what they call orang jerung, the shark. So we are following CEO, we are following director, we are following business owner, we are following even company partner. Siapa-siapa yang ada 5% dan yang lebih, which div have, right? It's a lot, no? 5%. You look like Andy Ong, take the hashtag, up, and flying. So that's why we want to use this information as part together with Pentagon. That makes it very powerful to analyze some of the stocks in here. And this is how I've been using it. Now you can't see this in here, so I have to just move it in here. Let me just refocus this again. Okay, I will just move this up a bit here. Okay, so you can see, right? Now this is insider buying. So the new Trade VSA chart, eventually, the Smart Robie insider chart, you can see, right? They are buying in here. There was a selling here. This one is a bit small, right? Maybe I just, after I show you, next slide I'll show you. So you can see here why JHM. This is JHM, move up. Okay, now it move up how much? Okay, it move up how much? Today I was surprised. It went up 4.55%. After all, what has happened? It went up 4.55% today. You go and check out the JHM, right? And we look at this chart is to recognize company owner, CEO. They all know insider information, right? Because they have an interest. So when they buy, due to the Company Act 2016, they have to disclose. Of course, there are many occasions people not disclose, but if not disclose, they have to pay fine. So we want to use this information in the chart together with it. So that's why it's no surprises. Let me show you the next chart. Now, this is the next chart that we have, right? You can see from here, hopefully you can see that these are all the buying. And you can get this all from the Bursa Malaysia website when they buy and when they sell, because they have to disclose it. So you can see on this information in here, Datuk Sri Tan Keng Seng bought 100k. How many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 hari. 7 days it bought at the low. And this is what we call low volume accumulation. After buy the stock markup, and today is up, right? So let's take a look. Who is Datuk Sri Tan Kim Seng? So now you see, Datuk Sri Tan Kim Seng is the CEO or Executive Director of JHM Consolidated. So he's a big boss, so he know what he's doing. So why? We follow the insider. We follow the CEO. When they buy, they buy. And this is why one of the features that we've been toying around, right? And this is something I used to use a lot using the Bloomberg Terminal, right? And Bloomberg Terminal have this information, but then Bloomberg Terminal is $6,000 per month, which is much, much more expensive. Our system, Trade VSA, plus everything that you see is only 26888 for 12 months, and sometimes you get free additional months, and it is really a bargain compared to paying almost $60,000 to $80,000 what you're paying in Bloomberg. But most people, they sort of use free tools and they don't see improving, they don't see their portfolio growing, and sometimes I can also understand that too. But again, sometimes you have to look from the benefit and the cost and then wait. But we do find that with this information, many of our existing members, they don't have to pay extra for this, will benefit from this in here. All right, let's look at another one. All right, another one which I wanted to buy because it came out on the top volume indicator. Again, a lot of this short-term trading because I'm really uncertain. I took some money out and from the long-term stocks, I reduced my position, so I'm using to buy this. So why I avoided BJ Corp trade yesterday? Yes, this is a yesterday chart. I wanted to buy at 34-35 cents because it came out on my top volume. But as soon as I look into here, I don't know if you can see this or not, right? There's a selling. Who is this person? Tan Sri Datuk Vincent Tan Chi Yon. He's the owner, right? He's the owner of Cardiff City, owner of BJ Corp. So if the stock he sell and stock started to move up, which compared to JHM. Now remember JHM bought apa? JHM buy, right? This one sell, right? So today you can see BJ Corp reverse 5% down, minus 5.7% down. So with this information, I already saved money there, correct not? So normally I tell our member our strategy is if you're going to trade, make sure you check this list first. It will save me, definitely for me, it already saved me a few hundred to a few $1,000. Enough for me buy another pair of shoes for running. All right. So you can see, so this information is important. Of course, you can also get it from Bursa, Malaysia website. You just need to be very diligent and go over there because these are all publicly information. It's just that our team able to package it together, make it simple, make it easier to understand, and help you to manage your trade. And I do hope you all like this new feature, which we are looking to currently still back testing. Of course, we're still back testing. Eventually, we are looking a date to release this sometime by end of second half or maybe first quarter of 2023. Because a lot of the features that we do right now, we actually get it tested first. All right, so you can see here there was a lot of selling. SSS was selling in here, and then you got a lot of buying in here. Right now, this kind of information is not available on anywhere else, not that I know of, but if some of you do know, let us know, and how we can also improve this in here. All right, okay, so let's take a look at the next one. This is 7-Eleven. I was talking with Zach. Zach told me, hey Martin, this chart looks good. You can see a lot of buying here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right now it's a right base. After it went straight up to $2.50, there were insider buying. Let me just move here, right? And today the market did drop down a bit more, right? So this may be, I'm not saying it will, just like JHM, okay? The thing started to move up. How high move up, I don't know yet. So this thing start to move up. So take a look at 7-Eleven, SEM, because Zach also will be talking about this, looking at intraday chart. So right now, with the study of the technical VSA chart, we also have the what we call the shareholder disclosure requirement following the Company Act 2016, right? And that will help us to look into when insider buying and selling. And that's why we believe VSA continue to improve our delivery to everyone else. So of course, then there's another strategy. Now, if you don't want to do the short-term trading, I do hope that will create some sort of excitement. For me, it is, because I've never been an intraday trader. I'm more of the long-term. And to trade intraday, you really have to see all the screen, put up your alert in here. For our case, very simple. Just go through the top volume indicator. When it pops out, just check the chart intraday, can just do the trade. Less than 5 seconds. Is so simple. And that's why I'm trading more intraday, because I have a lot of time. And for those of you who have the office, if you have a laptop, just open up the screen, right? Once you subscribe to it, and you just let it drop, because it updates itself every 5 minutes in there, right? Alright, so that helps you to really plan your trade. And more important, I think, once you subscribe to it, you can actually trade the intraday using our virtual trading platform and see how well you fare, and also join our market orientation for 100 days, then you get familiar. Now, of course, you can also rebalance your portfolio for defensive stocks with dividend. I think I've talked about it in here. RC Capital, when I first talked about it, purchased it on 3rd of January, right? 3rd of January, right? I remember I also put up one last year for growth stock, and we all know where growth stock was, right? I think that portfolio was down maybe 12%. For the year, it's all the good stocks like Inari, KGB in here. So this year, we are starting off on a cautious year. No doubt last year we lost money. So we are, right now we can see many of these are making money, because why? These stocks are dividend paying stocks. All right, take note of it. They are dividend paying stocks. They can survive a market crash. They are low PE stocks with high return of equity, ROE, and they pay good dividend over time. And they have pretty good growth prospect, even on good time and bad time. Of course, the more list of this will be under the masterclass portfolio, MC portfolio. Check it out on VSA 360. Whatever I talk about is all available in the VSA 360. So it has become like a Bloomberg terminal, because I've been an analyst and a fund manager for the last 10 years. I'm so used to having the Bloomberg, but I don't have it since I started up Trade VSA. So I'm building my own Bloomberg, and some of the things that you see here is through my own experience and the team that we continue to build by trader, and also feedback from all of you wanted, hey, I want to do this volume trading, can I do that? And that's why we have that volume screener in here. So in summary, for our 2023, we are looking to have more, but to definitely survive this market crash, right? There are 3 things we want to do to make sure we really pinpoint what we are buying next. We have to buy something, actually. Like, I know many of you also make mistakes. Buy here, buy there, and you listen to this sifu, listen to your friends. Let it be. It's okay. But now you got smarter. You got an education, program in here. You got the good tools, right? Follow the VSA in here, and you're following Zach and also our coaches like Coach Arif and Coach Fu that will put you in a top 10 trader investor in here. All right, whether you are rebalancing for your portfolio for a high dividend yield, it will break you into it. So that covers the market crash. Now, while the time we still have the next 15 minutes, I will talk about the market rebounding. Right? Just now, some of the members always said, hey, it's testing the 200-day moving average. What happened if we break and started to jalan? Because right now, everything is bearish. So again, we still look at the same thing. We look at the VSA chart. We look at the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. Then we're also looking at the CEO buy side and sell side. Economic indicator, no different. But what we added in is the slower interest rate. We are looking for interest rate when the US Federal Reserve call pivot. They call it the Fed pivot. Pivot Fed means rather than currently they are raising interest rate, raise. So before they pivot is what? Pivot mean turn. But like the one you see up there, right? You see up there, turn, right? So 9 interest rate 9, right? Those of you who have property, you know lah, wow. Chuan man have to pay more already now, 500 ringgit to 1,000 ringgit monthly payment just for one housing only. So when they pivot, it means they will slow down their interest rate and then cut interest rate. Only when they cut interest rate, everything will terbang balik. All your technology stocks, semua akan terbang punya. So right now is waiting for that Fed pivot. That's all, right? So the GDP growth, we have to see. The GDP growth will be coming up very soon for the fourth quarter 2020 for US market. And S&P 500 ratio, it may start to turn higher. All right, just now was at 20, which means it could be a base. It can go to 15 S&P 500 ratio, but 20 was what it was at recession in here. So if you look back on this pandemic COVID, now this green line is something on TradingView. You can actually put it in there. It just tells you the US recession. This is the US Dow Jones, DJI on the weekly chart. And we are comparing, right, to March 2020 where this green shaded area was the the COVID crash. So you can see when COVID crashed, I got red pentagon. Okay, red pentagon. Then finally it turned green pentagon much later and then the market started to move. So here, although we did not have a full declaration of the, what we call the recession. Remember what I said earlier on, right? By the time government come out and tell you, hey, the recession was from this period to this period, market sudah jalan tadi. By the time you hear the recession word, just like what now is happening, semua orang cakap recession. I also cakap recession. The market already based. There you can see, right? On the weekly chart, sudah naik already. You can see here, green pentagon on the weekly chart. Just like here. Come back down if it start to break out. Okay? Pentagon guider notified many months ahead. Now even on the down market, somewhere in, this was in January. Okay, February was the Ukraine war lah. This was in February here lah. All right, where the market broke. You can see right now market turun, started to turn back up already. Okay, so that's why I think this market likely to move up then down. Pentagon is green right now. So if you go back to the global financial crisis in 2007, okay, 2007 in here, you can see this shaded green area here was also the recession period. By the time they tell recession, they announce a recession here, right? Or somewhere here, sudah jalan di market. Sudah jalan. So Pentagon guider notified months ahead. And also same thing happening right now. So we see a pattern inside there. I think pretty much when you see a Pentagon in here, it does tell you this market is likely to move up and down. Now let's look at the interest rate hike schedule, which I talked about last week. Because they find that the interest rate maybe ngam at 5.5. Right, 5.2. Currently, they are around 4.75. So they still have another 75 basis point or 0.75. So remember, more interest rate, right? More property installment you have to pay. So 3 more only. They're going up until May. Okay, so end of the second quarter 2020, May we see the stop. And even this pulse is where we see the what we call US Federal Reserve pivot. 9, slow down, cut interest rate. Kalau cut interest rate, market all start to bang jalan one. All right, so we have to wait for that. And also the US annual inflation rate for December will be coming out besok akan keluar, and they are predicting below 7%. So right, today is 11, tomorrow is the 12th, they will release the December 2022 inflation rate. So that's why this market rallying because of tonight US market rally because of this 7%. They are looking at 7%. Kalau kurang dari 7%, maybe 6.9, then you will see the market rally. Kalau 7.1, 7.2, habislah, turun lagi. That's why we say we are in the point of either market crash or market boom. Now you all learn. Have a bit of fun also. So next release tomorrow night. And Federal rate respond to inflation. But Jamie Dimon, one of the social media, remember I talked about that sign. There are a few things you look at, you have to see the social media talk also. So sometimes indicator is not good. So this big boss of JP Morgan, he's been right about the recession. He did say that, sometime January last year, the market was too high. And then the market pivot. This guy very ngam one, very good also. So also he said that the Fed may need to hike interest rate beyond 5%. So that's why the market is going to go far after 5% in here. All right, after 5% in here. So let's let it go after 5% and see whether they are going to do it or not. So definitely during the slowdown or beginning of the US Fed, they were thinking of pivot. So we have to see beyond 5% and what's going to happen. 5.2 in here before we say it. This was a January 10. Now also take note, the PE is already way down at 20. Market might just turn back up. Okay. Now why the market set to rebound is that a lot of bad news are surfacing right now. We're still getting a lot of bad news. Like the TSMC worst sales in the last 2 years is out. All right, assuming the market bottom at the 200-day moving average on the weekly chart in June 2022, that was the market bottom that we have seen, right? And that's right now the market is moving ahead. CPI figure inflation rate, I'll talk about it. The schedule released until the second half in May. And one of the things that not many people talk about is the continuing war between Russia and Ukraine. That's the one that actually gives the high inflation because the food prices are up, right? The oil prices are up. So you can see from a Putin viewpoint, he's measuring the cost and benefit. What is the cost to him? Now with the continuation war coming to February 23rd will be 1 year already. He said he's going to be there in 3 weeks. I thought he can take it up in 3 months. Also 1 year, nothing got down. So they're fighting now in Bakhmut. I think you heard about it. Now they're fighting in Solaba because they need to get some sort of consolidation win so he can go back to the Russian parliament and say, hey, we won it. But the cost is definitely a lot. You have seen the recent killing of the Russian barrack, right, by the missiles in here, or some say 600 people Russian was killed. They claim to be around 63, and that's a cost to him. But what's the benefit? There's no benefit. So it's insane. Now remember, Putin is an autocrat, but yet he's also a brilliant genius in here. If he continue to go on where he don't see benefit and the costs continue on, and right now you can see the Americans, the Germans, the UK and the France continue to supply weapons to Ukraine. So it's going to cost him more. The benefit is getting smaller. The cost is small. So at one point, you might see he has to do something to come out from this difficult situation. How they do it, I still don't know yet. So every day I'm observing, and anything I have to share, I definitely share it in my live Facebook here today. All right, so let's talk about the market rebounding strategy. We're going to quickly wrap it up in here. Now, assuming the market bottom in June, it needs to move 20% from the bottom. All right, keep the defensive stocks that you have. So depending how much that you have, if you just have a small amount, maybe you want to try the stock momentum strategy using the intraday alert that we talk about in here. All right, and if you're a longer term, buy on the Pentagon guided signal weekly one. Right, I do feel that the momentum stock opportunity is there. You can see some of these, especially in Malaysia, the smart money come in. Especially right now, we have the disclosure requirement, Company Act 2016. We can actually view and see how well these fellas all are buying and selling. Just like the trade that I avoided, BJ Corp, and the trade that I did for IT Max. Okay, so those are the one that will definitely help you in here. So you can capitalize on it here, and you want to do something. Few ideas that I talk about in here. If he does that, then you're on the right track. So right now, if you look at the market bottom, for KLCI to resume what we call the uptrend will be 1650, looking at 20%. You can see the last time when the COVID crisis, this was a recession, 20% you hit, then jalan already. So here, which means if you cannot clear 1615 is still going to ding dong, ding dong, ding dong for a very long time. Okay, so remember that. US is going to clear soon. Now from the US side, once it cleared the 20% from the because it's always once they're from the bottom here, it clear 20%, the fella will jalan already. Means uptrend. Here he need to clear back to 34,500. Right now is 34. 34, another 500 points only, you know. So that's why they are ready, you know. I don't know that they are ready for the second half already. So lagi 5 bulan dia mau jalan already. So maybe sideways or maybe one wash. I do not know lah. That's what I'm trying to tell you is the floor ready to jalan. You can see here something can be like that. Just ding dong, ding dong, ding dong like that. One wash and then turn back up. Could be here ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. One wash, turn up. Usually sometimes they do that. Then once it clear the 34,500, they akan jalan punya. So that's why we look at the technical chart. We just don't look at the social media influencer. Right? If you just look at one point and don't spend your time on fundamental, you don't look at chart, then you tend to be very biased. So as what we call an educated investor, educated trader, right, following the works of VSA, and if you have been following many of the works that we've done here, you probably know some of the things we said are turned out to be, you know, true. We are not right all the time, I have to claim. So remember, the forecast is a very tough thing to do, which we try to do it in VSA, but together with the technical charts and knowing how many times they are right, using statistics, using smart money information like the Disclosure Act, and also reading the charts, we have the advantages. And with these advantages, we're able to move out. Some of these 3 points I've talked about in here, right, with the China reopening, and I think that could avoid the major recession that we have. Remember, Chinese used to be a big spender. I do know that right now, after 3 years of lockdown, they have less money, but some of them may have stashed a lot of money overseas. We don't know in here. So what's ahead for the KLCI? The resistance is still at 150. You can see, right? Market, railway track still going up. It's going to retest that in here. It has a double top, and definitely you need to take that crack, right? Third bar. So right now it's pivoting there, and if the interest rate hit tomorrow, hit below 7%, you see your crack. If not, U-turn. U-turn down, okay? So long term, we are looking at 1620 for the uptrend recession. That one we talk about later, 1612. Now we talk about 1500 first, right? Foreign funds is slowly coming in. Of course, as the ringgit strengthen, that also coincide with the China reopening in here. Trend is still up. And right now, if the market break below 1500, you have the Chinese New Year rally. 恭喜发财. Chinese New Year rally in here. But usually market will go higher if it does break the 150 and then come back down. Like what they say, right? 3 step up, 2 step down, 2 step up, 1 step down. That's why we call it like that. Zigzag, zigzag up. Okay? Alright, so that's pretty much what I have in here. More importantly, I think those of you who are interested in our educational process to train you using all our tools, our 7 tools of framework, which I explained, put you into that position. And more importantly is the last, what we call the step 6 and 7, the virtual trading platform where you use all our tools in here. And then we want to see how well you perform before using the real money. What market to trade, you already know, 1 and 2, the US market and the Malaysian market in here, because the Malaysian market, especially those the daytime, you can be more active, then there's a way to do it in here. All right, and that's always been our focus, our members. And without our members talking about the so-called needs and requirement, we are not able to come up with all the alerts to. A very special thank you to all our supporting members and also our audience who are listening tonight in here. So before start trading money, get a coach like us. Our coach here are willing to train you, and also you all learn more. And of course, the summary for tonight is we feel that year 2022 had already bottomed. Right, the June 2022, and in Malaysia context is October 2022. That was our market. So whatever that is now is already been priced in. We do not know whether there's another black swan happening, or whether Putin will strike the nuclear war, or North Korea will strike, or the Russians decided to invade Taiwan rather than China. Who knows? Or maybe China invade. So this kind of thing does happen. It's all this black swan. But we are in a crossroad. Either we're in a market boom or a continuing sideways, because I do feel that inflation is pretty much in control and we are not likely to get a market crash. All right. So I think right now we have this storm weather, right? Even the next 6 months, at least until the first quarter before they cut interest rate, because the interest rate is really having a havoc on the economy. It's a cost. It's a tax to the economy. So this is a stormy weather. So you want to stay sheltered, and what better way to educate yourself? Consider our program where you're able to use our tools, our coaches in here, and Green Pentagon giving you the right one. So that's all I have for tonight in here. And of course, your review, just go over to our Google review in here and give us a review. And if your review are good enough, we'll give you a 1 month free subscription to our Trade VSA system here, worth 300 ringgit, something around there. All right, thank you for coming tonight in here. If you're ready, you can also subscribe to our VSA 360 and enjoy the new features for 2023, and yet our coaching and the 7 framework that will put you a few $100s per day. Remember those trade we talk about, those market, short-term market opportunity in here. Be there and benefit. All right, so that's all we have. And any question that you have, don't forget to share our Telegram chat room for all our stock market information in here to put you in the right spot in here. Okay, where to get the intraday top volume screener? Oh, very easy ni lah. Join our VSA package. All right, join our VSA package. I thought you're a member, right? Cool. Yes, cool, you're a member, right? If cool, you're a member, I think you can ask it for Zach, because currently we're giving it to the orientation one, but you can use it right now. Test it out first, okay? Before we make it, because I'm still fine-tuning it a bit. I think it's pretty good. And it's the same principle in here. Ask Zach for it, those of you who are member in here. Thank you very much, Zoo, all right, for the VSA. And that's all we have for tonight. I'll see you back on Friday for our breakfast show. Thank you again and good night.